person was the one holding them hostage.
And Annie, we also want to point out the lady you interviewed mentioned that she had heard word that a child might have been harmed in this. We have not gotten any official confirmation of any young person being deceased or injured throughout today. Hopefully that will stand true. Again, it's still a very fluid situation.
Absolutely, and I think that actually really paints the picture here. The information is getting out. In some cases, it's in line with what police are saying. In some cases, it's not. But that's really what is so upsetting for these folks, as she mentioned, is just the not knowing. There's still so much that we don't know. And in a case like this, where there are so many people here and there are so many conversations being had about what happened, we really do need to narrow down what has happened here. And of course, that will take some time. But yes, I think that really goes to the point that these folks here are just desperate for information, and sometimes what they're hearing isn't always accurate, but you know, they're trying to get it, and of course we're trying to bring it to you.
Sure, and as soon as the chief provides a briefing coming up in the next 10 minutes or so, perhaps we'll be able to pass more information along. Annie Scholes joining us live near the shooting scene. A couple of new pieces of information have come in while we were on the air chatting a little bit. First of all, a hospital spokesman out at Frederick said that one of the victims had gunshot wounds to the face and extremities. Another had gunshot wounds to the abdomen. She did not know which of those victims was the police officer or the nature of the third victim's wound. So basically, we don't know the nature of the injuries to the officer. We know that there are 3 who are in critical condition, still in surgery in some cases, out at Frederick Hospital.
And quite honestly, we don't know the total number of people that may be injured. We're hoping that it stays at this number, but until we hear that press conference or that press briefing that's about to happen in just a few minutes, we really cannot bring that information to you.
Let's recap sort of this whole process, and then we're going to go talk to Charles Benson in the newsroom in just a minute. But basically, sometime shortly after 10 o'clock this morning, a gunman arrived on the scene of the Sikh temple at 7512 South Howell Avenue in Oakgreek, apparently opened fire on 2 people, certainly one, we know, and there's reason to believe a second person in the parking lot was shot. Then entered the temple and opened fire on other worshipers who were conducting their Sunday services. We are told that there are 4 people in the temple who are dead. We know then that the gunman came back out and was confronted by an Oakgreek police officer who responded to the scene, shot and killed in an exchange of gunfire the gunman. So we've got 3 dead in the parking lot. We have 4 dead inside the temple. We know we have 3 who were wounded, one of them being the police officer, all of those being treated at Frederick. We suspect that 2 of the other wounded perhaps were from inside the temple, although honestly we do not know that with any degree of certainty.
Yeah, we did get some information from some of our interviewees who pointed out that one of those injured was a visiting religious leader from New Delhi. Very sad, very embarrassing, and just awful. But we do not have confirmation on the extent of that injury, but we do know that was the case, and we do know there were heroes inside the temple at the time this went down. One man says that his father was shot multiple times, is now in Frederick, and his father actually tried to stop the shooter, just jumped in front, and no doubt saved plenty of lives in the process.
We are also told that Frederick is going to hold its news conference after the police news conference. Originally, they were both tentatively scheduled for 4 o'clock this afternoon as we look at a live picture of some of the children. To be honest with you, we don't know if these are relatives who have arrived on the scene or if they are some of the children who perhaps were inside during this tragic shooting. So we don't want to speculate on that, but obviously they are being escorted out of the area from behind the secure, taped-off area. So no doubt traumatic experience for them, particularly if they were inside, but even just being there, seeing the grief.
And there has been an outpouring of support for the people there. We have Red Cross is on the scene, the Salvation Army. Authorities have been focusing on a red truck in the parking lot, a red pickup. We do not know what they found, but they have been combing that truck and looking for any information. That is believed to be the vehicle that belonged to the shooter. We've also been told President Obama has been briefed by this incident. New York City has beefed up security around its temples, its Sikh temples, and we as well in our area, the other Sikh temple in our area has more security. People from all over the world are watching this story. Many people from India have been communicating with relatives here today via cell phone and internet.
President Obama quoted as saying he is, quote, deeply saddened by the shooting. And let's go to Charles Benson in the newsroom for more reaction that's coming in from around the country. Charles.
And of course, your heart just breaks when you see those young children at the scene and knowing that children were inside the Sikh temple. As you mentioned, President Obama has been briefed on the situation. Here's a story from Reuters saying John Brennan, Obama's counter-terrorism advisor, notifying him of the shooting, and the president was continuing to receive updates on the incident in suburban Milwaukee. But as you mentioned, he did issue a quote saying he is deeply saddened by what's happened. Not sure what to read into the person who was informing him of the information. It comes from Homeland Security. And of course, we know there are federal officials here on the scene in the Milwaukee area. The Republican presidential candidate, Mitt Romney, has also issued a statement saying, Ann and I extend our thoughts and prayers to the victims of today's shooting in Wisconsin. Our hearts are with the victims, their families, and the entire Oakgreek Sikh community. As you can imagine, this story is getting a lot of play around the country and around the world. We're also hearing from Senator Ron Johnson, who is calling this a heinous crime and that he has the utmost belief in the legal authority, the law enforcement there on the scene, that they will be able to handle this situation and come to the conclusion as to who did this and why. Also, former Governor Tommy Thompson has issued a statement as well. He is a candidate for the U.S. Senate seat, but he is speaking here as a citizen of this state, saying, quote, my heart goes out to those in the